Nowadays, a lot of my time is rediscovering my favorite activities from when I was younger. A lot of my life now is realizing that 12-year-old me was onto something. I don't think this rediscovery would have even been possible if it weren't for the reality check that high school and college give us during their formative years. See, the thing is, during high school and especially college, we're taught that life looks like a clear, concise, and consistent schedule that demands strict deadlines and conformity. But the reality is that when you get out of college, you get into a world that is anything but those. Our reality today is very, very different from the reality of 20, 30, 40, and 50 years ago. For example, one thing that I think we especially don't take advantage of enough is the fact that we are so connected as a society that you can literally live across the globe and still stay in contact with all the people you love and care about while living in an environment that you also love. I used to think that I was going to be stuck in the same town, or at the very least in the same state forever, and I just accepted this as my reality because what else was I going to do? All my family and friends lived here. That's just what happens. You just live where you do. But I remember having this realization when I was like 12, watching a YouTube video of one of my favorite Minecraft YouTubers at the time. And he had just chosen to do a vlog out of nowhere where he was longboarding to the beach from his Florida house. And I just remember thinking, that would be so cool if I could just wake up and it was sunny and warm out and there were palm trees everywhere. And I could just go to the beach, whether by walking or longboarding. I just thought the whole idea of someone living somewhere where people typically go on vacation was amazing. And I just remember that so vividly. But I think where we go wrong starts with school. I think that high school forces you to get real and think, okay, what am I going to actually do with my life? For me, I always was a big dreamer, and I always knew that I wanted to do aerospace engineering because I wanted to make rockets, or at the very least, I wanted to make something that went into space. So when I realized that, I was very deliberate with the classes that I took as electives. For some reason, though, instead of branching out and taking advantage of the fact that I was going to have 4 years that I could literally spend anywhere and no one would bat an eye, I left it up to myself to go to a college that was close to home. I went to the same one that both my parents went to. Don't get me wrong, it's a really good college and it has a really good mechanical engineering program, but what it lacks is the proper location. My college was located in the northeastern US and has a really good reputation for aerospace engineering. However, it's the wrong kind of aerospace engineering. They're known for working with the typical engine manufacturers like Pratt& Whitney, Sikorsky, and Collins. So when I finally got to college, I was surrounded by people that, rightly so, desired to be part of those companies. I can't remember a single person that shared my interest of going to work for one of those exciting space startups, or even the elusive SpaceX. So, in that regard, I ended up putting myself into a box. I began to write off my dream as something that I didn't even want in the first place, or that wasn't even achievable. My dream of moving somewhere warm with palm trees and plenty of sunlight and working for a space startup was gone. And I accepted that the next 40 to 50 years of my life after college was just gonna be working for one of those traditional aerospace manufacturers. It wasn't until junior year of college when I realized I was going about it all wrong. I didn't feel super satisfied with the trajectory of my career. After all, I didn't want to be an airplane engineer, I wanted to be a spaceship engineer. I cared specifically about the technological progress that humanity was making in space, and I really didn't care about the traditional aerospace industry that much. So I started to get serious about pivoting my career in a way that would allow me to eventually work at one of these companies. I put together a list of all the companies I could find in the big space technology hubs of the US, and I cross referenced to that with the desired locations that I wanted to look into. As I did this, I realized that there were so many more companies that I had never even heard of that were working on projects that I would kill to be a part of. In the back of my mind, though, I couldn't help but fight the internal battle about whether or not it would even be feasible for me to move across the country to somewhere like California or Florida to pursue my dream as a space technology engineer. I was worried that my friends and family would judge me, or at the very least try to convince me to stay, and maybe they'd be right for doing that. Maybe I was going to miss out on spending my formative years with them. And what if I missed my home in the Northeast? But then I realized something major. What if it all works out in a way that I am able to do what I love in a climate that I love year round and still see them? I mean, travel infrastructure has gotten so reliable over the past 50 years that taking a plane across the country is trivial. And we're so connected as a society that you can call anyone at any time from anywhere. Going back to the concept of traditional education and higher education, I think that they fit you into a nice box that forces you to either stay close or return once you're done. Colleges connect you with people local to the area, and so you feel like you're missing out by moving away. But the reality is that we are so connected as a society that we can afford to make these changes. And even if the changes result in the worst case scenario where it doesn't work out and we miss everyone and our life is not what we thought it would be, we can always move back to where we were from. And I think that's the beauty of growing up in this time, because the connection that we have can sometimes be seen as a negative. A lot of people are depressed and sad with where they are in their lives compared to others. But I think that the very same connection is a strength for those that take advantage of it. Perhaps realizing that you're not where you want to be in a constructive way is just what you need to understand what you need to do in the future. There's so many opportunities to grow out there. You just have to seek the path that isn't typically taken. My realization at the age of 12 is not something that society tells you is acceptable. The average person doesn't just pack up and leave where they're from. But I think 12-year-old me was onto something, because I think living in the same place stunts your growth in a way that people don't even realize. When you think about your old friend from high school that still lives at home with their parents, never went away to college, and is still working the same job that they were when you were in high school, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you stay put, you get comfortable in your location. The motivation to change and grow is suppressed, and your concept and perspective on the world is stunted. And I think one of the most unique aspects of being in your 20s is having the ability to make a life changing decision and still having your whole life ahead of you to be able to recover if things go south. So I'll leave that there. 12-year-old me was definitely onto something, and I have big plans for my life going forward. Because even if you try something and you fail, you can always go back to the same path that everyone else goes through. But if you never try, then you'll always wonder what could have been if you did. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a topic that I think about a whole lot, especially now, and it's part of the reason why I have this channel now. So this is the call to action to just get started with a dream that you had when you were younger, at a time when you didn't feel the pressure to conform to society and when your interests were yours instead of everyone else's. Have a good one. Bye.